My name's Aaron Ciotti. Everybody calls me Ciotti. Look who's here! HappyModel.
Hi.
Lean in. Lean into the light.
There we go.
They were driving back from Charlotte, and they've been up all day on a gig, and they were like, I'm gonna die if I don't stop somewhere. I said, well, don't die.
Yeah,
Stop
I've been
here.
up since like 4:30 a.m.
In the chat, McMucus, Hockey Rounds, RT McKinley, Ethan W, Flush FPV Fun Per Volt, Frank Nicholas, Douglas Otwell, Denny Flatland, Hemmingson, CH3, Juicy FPV. What's up, everybody? If you want to talk directly to me in the chat, all you got to do is type CiottiFPV. If you do that, it'll light up an orange, even if it's in the middle of a URL. You can put an @ in front of it if you'd like, but you don't have to. Tonight, I'm going to start the Walksnail Mobula7 build, and hopefully we can get through the build. I just remembered that I forgot to grab, we got to figure out what we're doing about screws in this build, and I've got a little bag of screws in the Tiny Whoop box that I need to raid. I'm hoping that the Mobula7 V4 frame, the posts are longer on it that you drive those M1.2 screws into, so I'm hoping I can get away with running the thinner screws, not the thinner screws, the shorter screws from last time. If I need the same length screws that I used on the 65mm build, we're not going to be able to finish this build tonight. So, I don't know, we'll be sort of at the mercy of that. Has anybody found those longer silver screws? I think they come with like the Mobula 6 HD stuff. Well, this sucks. Now I can't find. I thought I made a little plastic baggie with those longer screws, but now I can't find it. This is a whole bunch of the regular HappyModel screws. Well, there are some sort of longer ones in here, so we'll try these, but I sort of gotta have another. Did I put them in here? Did I put them in this little box? I thought that I made a little bag, though. So this is this is sort of the main problem with doing these Walksnail builds is trying to find long enough M1.2 screws to go down through the Walksnail VTX, through the AIO, and the taller grommets that you're going to have to use for enough separation between the two boards, and then down into the posts. On the Mobula7 V4 frame, the posts are not any longer. I thought they were longer. I think maybe they're a little bit longer. I certainly hope they're longer, because otherwise we're kind of screwed here. I don't understand where the little container went. I can almost guarantee that I'm going to need this, so I kind of have to find it. Balls. This is not going well. Top secret. No. Do you guys remember me doing that? Who remembers me doing that? Who remembers me doing a thing to help future me out? Did I put it in the little build bag? Of course not. 603, 26,000. No. Where would I have put that? Did I put it in here?
These ones are longer.
A little bit longer. Yeah, that's like, if I have to use those, I will. But I don't think they're going to be quite long enough. Alright, well, the Walksnail build, we'll at least get it soldered up. We'll get the BT 2.0 lead soldered on there. I'm going to show you guys how I do the really short version of that. And then we'll get the Walksnail VTX soldered up. And yeah, so it'll be all good to go. And then, like, I'm sure that I can find a screw that does work. Whether or not it's strong is really the question. And that's why I'm really looking for those longer silver screws. If we look at like the so let's just try this. Let's try HappyModel Mob7 HD. Well, let's just try this, because I think these are what we want. Yeah, see, now, I mean, they're just M1.2 screws, so in theory we can find them, but it's hard to find them, as others have stated, with a head on the screw that's big enough to not just fall through the holes in the light VTX here, which they're like M2 holes. And I mean, like, you can use a spacer probably, but yeah, I don't know. I wonder if, like, it'll show those screws in this listing. I really doubt it, because the screws are in the canopy. Yeah, no. I wonder if they list them out here, actually. Includes extra prop, XT30. No. No, it doesn't call it out. So, yeah. We'll see. Mobula screws. I wonder if we can, like, just... Oh! That's them, friends. That's them. Unfortunately, this is them in China. And, yeah, so this is them. I think. Wow, look how mangled that one is. I believe these are the extra long screws that I used on the 65mm build. I say that for two reasons. A, they just look like they're the right length. B, they're silver. Most of the HappyModel screws are black oxide or whatever the hell. So, yeah, this is what we're looking for. Has anybody seen these on...
I'm actually going to do...
stateside?
AliExpress order soon.
Are you really? Cool.
So,
I'm going to snag a bunch of them for sure.
getting a bunch of YFS screws, so if you want me to add those too, I'll get them.
Awesome. Yeah, for sure. For sure. This is on HappyModel's website. They don't give you a place to order them, though. But, yeah, so they are for the Mobula6 HD. Okay. So I was looking for the Mobula7 HD. I mean, it's kind of all the same, but let's try that, though, actually. Mobula6 HD screws. HappyModel, AliExpress, Drone FPV Racer, those are not the right ones. Yeah, no, nobody has them. That is going to be an order that takes forever to arrive. Look, Walmart has them. Fine, it's good to go. Let's, okay. Way to go, you donkeys. Yeah, it looks like it's AliExpress. Damn. So, I guess, oh, wow. $5, you jerks.
That is offensive.
I mean, I guess it comes with the rubber bastards, but Jesus. I was going to say that I'll order a shitload of them. Looks like they have 98 quantity available, but not for $5 each. That's ridiculous.
You get like 100 M3 screws.
I know, right?
$2.
Fart. Hey, was somebody in the chat trying to find these M12s somewhere? I feel like somebody was. Show yourself if you were. All right, hold on. So, I really sort of do need to find that other little bag of screws. Where the hell would it have gone? Is it below? No. Is it inside here? No. Where is it? I mean, there's a chance that I put it in one of the other build bags. Oh, hell. I specifically meant to do this before the stream, but then I did other things. Like fart around with getting the Patreon caught back up and some other shit. So yeah, that was dumb. I was sure that they were right in this box and that I would just open it up and there they'd be and away we would go. Really quickly, let me look. Did I show you this, by the way? That's the Medlin head tracker setup. All right.
Is this just for the FPV cam?
So that is the Tiny Whoop one. That is the ultra lightweight one. Yeah. So
cool.
I've got a bag here with some stuff in it, but it's not the right stuff. Damn it. One more bag I can check. What about this one? Oh shit. Is that it? What is that? Oh, this is... Oh, Fractal coming through. I think Fractal might... Oh, wait, is that it? No, that's not it. But, actually, let's check. Okay, all right. Progress, friends, progress. The Fractal screws look like they're the ones. The screws that come with the Fractal 65 and 75. I think these will work. So let's take a quick look at this here. So this is the Fractal 75. This is going to be the next Walksnail build that we do. Tonight we're going to just kind of throw this build together in this V4 frame with the 1002 23,500 kV motors. This is going to be a build very, very, very similar to the Rotor Riot Vista 30, I think they're calling it. I don't know. Rotor Riot has a Walksnail 75mm motor-to-motor setup, bind and fly. And this is going to be very, very similar to it, but with a slightly higher kV motor. I'm doing this build this way because this camera, the non-super light camera, just the regular 1S camera, this won't work all that well with the Fractal weird little TPU G-string camera mounting thing. I have another light camera coming that I'm going to put on the other one of these with the VTX that does have the heat sink on it. So we will have a Fractal 75 RC drift car chasing as light as possible Walksnail setup. I just have to wait for that camera to get here. And yeah, so in the interim, we'll knock out one of these builds and see how it is. This could be a really good jungle gym bashing kind of setup. We'll see. So this little baggie here has regular screws. That's not going to do me any good. But this baggie here has the big long silver screws. And like I said, I think these are the screws that come with the Fractal stuff, because the Fractal stuff needs to use the taller grommets, and then these silver screws are for those taller grommets. I will not be able to use these on this Fractal build, so I might as well use them on this build, because so these screws work on the Fractal build if you're only using the AIO. If you're then stacking Walksnail on top of that, these are no longer long enough, so I might as well use them for this build. So yeah, we got lucky here. But also, I just noticed that there's some pretty long screws in this little Beta FPV box with their really tall canopy, and this might be the canopy that we use for this build. No, it's not. No, it's not. We're going to use the HappyModel canopy that's meant for this specific camera. But this Beta FPV canopy is only a couple of bucks. It's probably less than the $5 that those screws are on AliExpress. So let's take a super quick look here. Oh, actually, so these screws might not... Alright, so now it gets really confusing. I don't think these are actually the screws from the Fractal frame. I think these are actually the screws from the Mobula7 ELRS. The reason I say that is in this little bag, I just found a couple broken pieces of the Mobula7 ELRS canopy. If you remember back to when we first got that rig up in the air, the canopy broke within the first like 5 batteries, and then I kind of tore it apart. So yeah, I think basically any HappyModel Mobula rig that's got a double stack of a VTX on top and then the AIO is going to come with these silver screws, these nice long silver screws that you kind of need to do this. Go figure. So yeah, I'm lucky enough to have this set here, but if you don't, I don't really know what to tell you, to be completely honest. Hopefully somebody in chat has found a good source for M1.2 screws. I have not, although I haven't really looked, so...
These ones?
That would explain why. Yeah, hopefully those are long enough. We gonna find out. Let me finally check this little Beta FPV. Jibby jabby here, and oh, so these screws have even bigger little screw heads on them. The question is, are they long enough? They are almost as long as these silver screws. Man, they are like, it looks like a fraction of a millimeter, not quite long enough. Shorter, I should say. I think that they are going to be long enough, and there are 4 of them in here. So the Beta FPV, I think this is kind of the only way for us to get screws that are going to work, but this is a pretty good option. This is the Beta FPV Micro Light Canopy. This one's black. There are 2 different versions of this canopy. I found these in stock. Beta FPV Micro Light Canopy. Alright, so. Alright, there's 2 versions of this canopy. There's this stupid one with stupid extra pieces of plastic, and then there's this intelligent one. This is the... Is that the right one? Yep, this is the one that you want, and this is the one that I have here in front of me. Yeah, it's very similar to this, but it doesn't have the slots and all the cutouts for this. I wonder if no, this one's definitely different. See this little jibbo jabbo where it's not there. So yeah, you want to make sure that you get this Micro Canopy Light. Also, because the other magic of the Micro Canopy Light is that it comes with this little clip for the inside that the Walksnail light camera snaps right into. So if you get this canopy, even if you just get this canopy for these screws, you should still get this specific canopy rather than this silly one. I don't know if this is going to come with the right screws. You're also not going to want to run this stupid looking thing, and it's not going to come with the clip for the inside that you are going to be able to use with the Walksnail Lite camera. So yeah, you might as well get this one. I got this from Heli Direct. They shipped pretty quick. Looks like AliExpress has them. I think you can get a set like this of all 6 colors from like Amazon, but I think it was shipping from China, so it'll take forever to get to you. Right now, I think Heli Direct is maybe the only. Can you order it directly from Beta FPV? Looks like you can. So Beta FPV has them in stock. Yeah, look at that, $3.50 to get screws that are arguably better than those silver ones that are $5 from AliExpress. With rubber grommets that you might not use. So, if you need screws to do this Walksnail build, to do these 1S Walksnail builds, I think you might as well snag this micro canopy Lite. You'll have a canopy that you can use. You'll get the screws that you need. So yeah, and then if this canopy is definitely heavier than the Mobula7 canopy setup that we did on this little guy, little Snuffleupagus. But yeah, so if you want to save some weight, you're going to switch over to the Mobula7 canopy, but you'll at least have the screws that come with this guy. That's kind of great. Thank you, Beta FPV, for probably unknowingly doing this, but hey, you know, fine by me. I don't care if they meant to do it or didn't mean to do it, as long as I have a source for these effing screws to work. Hockey Rounds with a $2 super chat. He says, wife just bought me HDZero goggles. That's pretty rad. Hold on to that one. Yeah, that's awesome. Okay, so I'm not going to use the screws from this. I'm going to use those silver screws, I think, to keep this like a full set for maybe the next build. I don't know. I don't know what we're doing on that one. Wait, no, the next build's going to be in the fractal frame. Say again.
The screw head's big enough on these?
No, I end up having to use a little space. Or actually, no, they go through the plastic frame. So that's right. That's right. The screw heads don't have to be big because it goes through not the plastic frame, the canopy. It goes through the canopy. These silver screws, I think, just barely catch. Yeah, they just barely catch the canopy and they kind of sit flat. Although, now that I pull on it, it's kind of going through. Will it pull itself through? Doesn't look like it. It looks like it starts to try to pull itself through. I mean, I can get it if I angle it. You know, I might end up using the Beta FPV screws because they have the bigger screw heads. So what I'm noticing, this is the canopy that I want to use here. This is the most minimal, lightest weight. This is the HappyModel. This is the HappyModel canopy for their Mobula7 that has Walksnail in it. This is specifically meant for the Walksnail 1S setup, not the 1S Lite setup, the regular 1S setup. And it's got screw holes back here for you to mount the, for you to run the screws into the camera body on. And what I'm noticing is that the holes in the frame that these guys slot into, at first, like it seems like it'll work in there, but then like if I start to just kind of pull on it a little bit, it just sort of pulls right through the. All right, well, in the front it seems to be okay. In the set, we're gonna try it. We'll try it. If the canopy pops off, I'll switch over to the Beta FPV bigger ones. We'll be totally fine. Okay, hey, this is my full-time job. If you like this content and you want to see more of it, jump on over to CiottiFPV.com and click as many buttons as you possibly can before you die. Patreon helps me out the most, and you get the most benefits. It's as little as, not as little as, but it is 7.5 cents per hour of content per month. Isn't that a good deal? You probably have even more than 7.5 cents an hour, so you can get in on some giveaways on the $5 a month tier, $10 a month tier, 20 or up. Yeah, we do giveaways the first Monday of every single month, and if you win one of those giveaways, usually it'll cover your Patreon fees for like 6 months or a year. So yeah, if you're on the general admission $3 a month tier and you have another couple bucks, you can win some stuff, and yeah, it might be a good deal. Etsy is a spot where I've got a bunch of stickers and random hardware that might help with your builds. Fiverr, you can work one-on-one with me. I'll help you tune better, build better, and fly better. Or if you just have a whole bunch of questions, we can do that, whatever. Teespring has a bunch of shirts and random apparel. And then PayPal if you want to do a super chat, but you don't want YouTube to take 30% of your money. If you do a PayPal, do me a favor and in the chat, just type, yo, CiottiFPV, check your PayPal, because you deserve a shout out for supporting the insanity that is trying to do FPV full-time. Bunch of affiliate links here too. If you're doing an order on the internet, someone probably has an affiliate link. Help that person survive by clicking their affiliate link before you check out. I have them for We Bleed FPV, Newbie Drone, FPV Cycle, Amazon, Get FPV, Oh My God, HDZero, Flywoo, Emacs, Banggood, Camera Butter, AliExpress. So if you hit these affiliate links at any point before you check out, I will get a small percentage of your order total. A lot of folks have changed their bookmarks to my affiliate links so that they don't even have to think about it. Or if you're like me and when you want to go to Amazon, you just type AMA, you can actually so it's going to suggest the Amazon link that you go to the most. Off on the right, there's a little X that'll remove the suggestion. You can remove all of your non-affiliate link suggestions and then come in here and click my Amazon affiliate link a couple times. And now when you type AMA, it'll suggest this affiliate link. And again, you just won't even have to think about going to my website and finding the right affiliate link and yada, yada, yada. So those are some ways that you can support me and keep this shit alive. In the chat, Frank Nicholas tagged me and with the CiottiFPV.com link. Thank you, dude. CH3 says, what's up, gang? The new Cinelifter or better Walksnail Cinerig. Now that I've actually been reviewing some of this Walksnail footage, there is kind of no competition. Well, I mean, it's closer than I thought, but the Insta360 Go footage is way, way, way better than the Walksnail footage. It's not a hard build. I have a set of 1002s coming for them to see if I can get it a little bit lighter. Actually, it is a hard build because you need the V3 Acro B board. Yeah. The V4 is not cooperating for some strange reason. Although that might be a Blue Jay 0.16, 0.1789 issue. I didn't know of that Blue Jay problem back then, so that maybe they're fine. I doubt it, but RT McKinney says, one of these days you'll get my name correct. RT McKinney. Isn't that it? McKinney. Kinney. McKinney. Right? How am I getting that wrong? Northern Tier says, the Mobula7 hardware kit has them, I think. I have a couple if you need them. Let's take a look. I should be okay. I want these for you beautiful people. Mobula7 hardware. Let's check that. So yeah, these are close but no cigarette. These are, I really like these. I really like these screws right here for regular analog tiny whoops. They engage more of the plastic post and they're a lot stronger, but unfortunately these are not quite long enough for the double stack setups. These are great for a single PCB setup, but not quite long enough. And the heads are actually too big for the canopies that we're using. These Mobula canopies, one of the reasons why these screws are long enough is because they kind of sit down into the cup. With that big flat head on it, it would sit up above the hole in the canopy, and that just makes them kind of even shorter, basically. Yeah, I really think that Beta FPV, the Beta FPV screws are going to have the same problem, but they are significantly longer than those that we were just looking at. Man, it's super annoying that there's not a US reseller that has these. There probably is, we just can't find them because welcome to FPV. Well, if anybody manages to either find M12 screws that are right for what we're looking for with the small heads on them, or finds the HappyModel one somewhere, definitely let the group know. Frank Nicholas says, review the old video for where the screws are sorted. That's a good idea. Northern Tier says, I have some of these for sure if you need them. Jesse had them. Oh, shit.
Why did you not go there first?
I know, right? Jesse's site doesn't do very well. I don't think it gets indexed at all. I think he might have this site built on some kind of framework that doesn't get indexed by Google in some weird way. He's changed this. This is odd. So let's look in flight controllers. That's close, but not it. There's the beta FPV kit. This is not long enough here. What if we just type in screws? Mobula7, that's not it. That's not it. All right, well, oh, there's 3 pages. I was about to say, if Jesse had them, he has sold out of them and doesn't appear to have them anymore. Yeah, they are not here. But I wonder if he can get them. I sure wish I had my effing Facebook account so that I could message him. Nani FPV says, what's Bracken, bruh? Frank Nicholas dropping a link. Let's see what it is. Hey, look at that. Frank Nicholas coming through. All right, so the only thing that sucks about these is that they're... oh, wait, no, all of these. I guess all of these are Phillips head. I was going to say it sucks that they're Phillips head. I wish they were Allen-headed, but no, I don't think any of them are Allen-headed. Yeah, I think, don't quote me on this, but I think this M1.2 by 6 would be the right one. Although, man, it does not look long enough.
Do you have a ruler?
Yeah, I can find one. Let's see, M12 by 6. Let's see. Does this have metric on it? Yeah, it does. Yeah. M1.2 by 6 is the longest they've got, and this kit has 60 of them, and it's $13. M12 by 6. And I'll bet you could even use the M1.4s in here. It looks like there's an M1.4 by 8. I bet you could use that and just force it through the plastic posts, and it would probably work.
These are 8s.
Ugh. All right, well, it sounds like you would need to do that. So these are M12 by 8. I think that's the other problem. I think that's what was going on in chat last week. Somebody was able to find M12 by 6, but we actually need longer than that. So if you get this kit, you can probably use these M1.4 by 8 and that screws, and then just you're gonna have to give them a little bit of force going down through the posts of the frame. Good find, Frank. Very cool. All right. And what else is going on here? Rob Axelson's just got done baking a white clam pizza. Alec Dvornik says search...
What is a white clam?
I don't even want to know. Alec Dvornik says search M12 ultra thin head. Let's see. Get that little thing out of there. Okay, machine head, screw, M12 by 3. No, well, I mean, I guess I might as well, now that we've kind of figured it out, it's M12 by 8. NBK, M12 by 8, self-tapping screws. This is pretty much it. It's from AliExpress, though. Oh, my God.
Find similar buttons.
Finding screws is sometimes just infuriating.
It is.
Absolutely maddening.
Trying to find a source for M4 YFS screws in this finish.
Oh, the
that are
FPV cycle
long
finish
enough for the arm bolts on the Akira.
Interesting.
I think I'm gonna hit up Quadbod and just be like, "Hey, can you order these for me?"
Yeah.
Because they sell them.
Nice.
Yeah. For some reason, Andy Shen ships all his frames, stainless steel screws.
Oh man.
Actually, it seems like a lot of like the lifter stuff.
Oh, I got us, guys. I got us.
Stainless steel screws for some reason.
Okay.
which I don't understand because they strip so easily.
I don't have us. This is I think this is machine thread. These ones here are more of like a self-tapping kind of thread. I mean, these might work, and this is pretty cheap. This is on eBay. I'm gonna drop this link into chat. Oh, it's too long. Well, you're on your own. I'm gonna drop the item description into chat. There we go. You might be able to find that if you need these. It looks like they've got M1.2 by 8 as well as, oh, they've got them gigantic. They've got all the way up to 16. M1.2 by 16, 14, 12, 10, 8. Technically the 8s I think are the right size. I don't know if these are gonna work not having the little self-tapping head on them. I'll bet you'll be okay. I'll bet you'll be able to just force them down into the plastic and they'll take care of it. I don't think the plastic is threaded anyway. I think that's why they use self-tappers, so that you basically like tap it yourself. So I think this is kind of what you want. M1.2 by 8, and then looks like you're buying 100 of them, friends. I'm probably just I'm gonna leave this open in a tab, and I'm just gonna do this order. And then, yeah, we can do the same thing like we did with the drill bits.
As many open tabs as I normally do.
Oh, it's just the worst. It's just the absolute worst.
I normally have that, but in 3 different browser windows.
Yeah, oh, there's more. There are more browser windows. And there are also, I have a bunch of tabbed fuckers.
Oh, tab groups.
Yep. Speaking of open tabs, I've got a whole bunch of open tabs that are from the, well, first of all, there's this, which just makes me infinitely happy. Oh, you fucking bastard. You've got the wrong thing on. Hold on. There's this that Kevin Sumner actually found. So there's the actual, here's a link to the actual music video. So there you guys go. There's your helicopter for the day.
I realized that was like actually
A song, right? I thought it was just like a quick TikTok thingy.
That was just a TikTok sound that just came out of nowhere.
Quadbod made a bunch of clips on the best of CiottiFPV Discord channel, and I don't know. I think they're absolutely hysterical. That is open to anybody, so if you want to get on my Discord, all you got to do is go to CiottiFPV.com, and there's a Discord link all the way at the very bottom, and you can join. You don't get full access to all the text channels, but Best of CiottiFPV is one of the ones that's not Patreon only. So, you know. Let's see what's happening here.
Can we stop calling them slaps? You guys ready for a rant? Who could tell that I was about to go fucking... Can we stop calling them slaps?
Hold on.
Eh?
We
Slap
missed...
is when...
There we go.
Can we stop calling them slaps?
We missed the rant.
Slap is when you hit someone. A sticker is a sticker. Let's call them stickers. Why does everything have to be so cool? Why do we have to try to make everything so cool? Why can't we just say the fucking word? Because, like, man, this is some shit that used to drive me fucking crazy in corporate. Which is this, like, dying fucking urge to use corporate jargon words to feel cool or to feel like, fucking important. And then
I'm letting this go because
it
really does
like,
drive me crazy.
Miscommunicate because inevitably.
All right. Next.
It flies like a 5-inch, yo. It flies like a 5. Everything I build flies like a 5-inch. Everything I built 80 quads. Every single one of them flew like a 5-inch because I'm a good builder. Flies like a 5-inch. Doesn't fly anything like a fucking 5-inch. You know what flies like a 5-inch? A 5-inch. You fucks. Stop saying that. Everybody stop saying that. I need to stop saying it too. Somebody says, clearly we've got to promote synergies by pinging our peers to gain great market leverage.
This is that same live stream.
Leverage is the other one. Oh my god, if one more person says leverage, I'm going to cut their face.
Is the worst word.
Oh, it's the worst.
Oh my god. Well, we're going to leverage this. Really? How about if you use it? It's one syllable, asshole, and it makes sense to everyone. Leverage. I'm going to fucking leverage my foot up your ass. Leverage. I'm gonna light you on fire. If I catch one of you guys using the word leverage, like in the corporate dickbag speak, I'm gonna kill you. I'm gonna actually attack you with a shovel and a pitchfork. And those are things that, you know, you won't survive. So don't do it. Somebody says. And then there's just screws everywhere. There's just,
oh yeah, this is now talking about the previous owner of this house.
And then there's just screws everywhere. There's just, oh, look, that wall doesn't have a screw in it. That wall only has 3 screws in it. 4! Like, what is happening? And then those big, gorgeous cabinets in the living room, this motherfucker, he wanted to mount... Oh, my God. He wanted to mount like one of those like the cable box kind of things, you know, the black fucking box thing that's got the lights on the front and then it's got like whatever Ethernet in and then coax out or whatever. You guys know what I mean, like the fucking cable boxy things, the ones that stand up. They're like this big, right? This motherfucker gets 2 janky, ugly-ass pieces of wood, pounds 3 screws each. Those boxes weigh what? Like as much as my right testicle? They don't weigh anything. Those big, gorgeous cabinets.
And then I think maybe one more. Yeah. Yeah!
I can't think of a better way to end this stream. I'm not gonna fly anymore. That is the first time.
You guys remember that, I'm sure. Look at this. Look at this. This is all of the screws that I have removed from this house. This is this is heavy. Look at them. Look at. Those are the ones that I've removed from this house. I'm not kidding. There were screws everywhere. He just used screws for everything. No reason for that. Don't do that. Don't do it. And they're all like aggressive big screws. Look at this! Listen to that! It's too many.
Lost like 3 pounds.
Yeah, if we ever have to ship this house somewhere, it'll be cheaper. So yeah, there you go. That's best of CiottiFPV. Hey, some shout outs from some beautiful people that have joined the Patreon. Whole bunch of new patrons. Thank you all for that. It's very cool of you. And I hope you're enjoying all the cool shit that's going on over on the Patreon page. Where have those emails gone? Ricky Boring, hopping onto the Patreon. Welcome to the Gangly Gang, my friend. What else do we have here? Wow, why do I get so many emails? Good lord, that's a lot of emails. King FPV, welcome to the Gangly Gang. He's getting in on some giveaways. Fire Mike FPV also getting in on some giveaways. Happy Gangly Ganging. David T jumping onto the Patreon. Thank you, brother. Bozadar Reyes, Just David, and then Reyes Garcia. All new Gangly Gangers. Thank you all for the support. It really means a lot. It is the only way that I can keep doing this for 40 to 50 hours a week. So yeah. Welcome, friends. Welcome to hell. I got Diablo 4 and what? And Azalea, our 12-year-old here, and I were playing last night, and it's really good. It's really, really good. Maggie's coming downstairs. Ah, it's a party!
You want ciders?
Oh, I would love one.
You do?
Yeah.
Oh, hey.
Look
Go
at
on.
you.
I'm good.
You're good?
Look at it, it's a party.
It's a party.
No more FPV talk. We're just gonna all hang out.
I was
And-
driving back from Charlotte, and I've been up since 4:30 in the morning, so I was like,
Drink
hey,
things.
I need to rest.
Oh my god.
need to not die.
Are you hungry? You want something?
No, I
Here,
got
babe.
McDonald's.
Thank you. Look at this. These are the ones from Aldi.
Are they?
I think so, aren't they? Aren't they?
Maybe.
I think that's where we got them from. They're just as good as the regular ones.
Probably.
This is like all I can drink out of a glass bottle that doesn't make my stomach just completely turn inside out and shit its own pants. Nothing? No
What?
comment?
What?
I thought I'd get a reaction out of that one.
I mean, I'm so used to that.
That's what to say. She's gotten way too used to this. All right, let me get caught back up on chat. There's Alec Dvornik. Hockey Rounds, thanks again for the $2 super chat. Scrolling back up.
Yeah.
Freelojo dropping the Patreon link. Thank you, dude. CMYK says, what's up, Gangly Gang? CiottiFPV. Frank Nicholas says, on the M1.2 screw length, I think it's the threaded length, not including the
You can't
head.
do it with him yapping. You can come
Oh,
upstairs.
interesting. Interesting. On the M1.2 screw length, I think it's a threaded length, not including the head. Okay, fair enough. Fair enough. Izzy Boop making fun, saying Ahin, careful, there's a dork beside you, but then correct themselves. What's up, Izzy? Earthwalker says, my X12 went up in flames today. Any recommendations for ThumbCam whoop/toothpick? What's a ThumbCam whoop/toothpick? Is that a tiny whoop? Is that a tiny lifter, basically, designed to carry a RunCam thumb? Is that... I'm digging pretty deep into that, but if so, I'm assuming that you're running that X12 on 2S. I have been very skeptical of HappyModel having any of these AIOs run on 2S. And so if that X12 was on 2S and it went up in flames, I'm not all that surprised by that. The only 2S... Doug McLeod with a 413 super chat. Thank you, Doug. I'll read your chat comment in a second. It's really tough, man. I don't think there are any AIOs that are actually going to be reliable on 2S, but I think your best chance for any amount of reliability on 2S is going to be the newbie drone Acrobee BLV3. The BLV4, I've tested 2 or 3 of them now, and I don't know what version of Blue Jay they were on. Maybe they were on 0.178 or 9, and maybe that was the problem. I did all of this testing before I realized the Blue Jay issues. The problem's going to be, how do you get a BLV3? Because they're not making them anymore. So I would shoot an email to Newbie Drone and say, hey, I'm building one of CiottiFPV's tiny lifters, and I need a BLV3 because the BLV4 does not work on 2S. That'll kick them in the ass to fix the BLV4, hopefully, and then hopefully they'll have a BLV3.
I think I just saw. I think it was in stock. Some bind and fly. Yeah, here it is.
There is a
Newbie
bind and
Drone
fly that has
Savage
it.
Bee
That's
comes
it.
with and that's in stock.
Yep, the Savage Bee.
Yeah.
And now that you say that, I swear to God, I saw it somewhere else. NBD Acro
Don't buy
B
all of those.
BLV3.
So I need one.
I'm pretty sure there is somewhere. Okay, Pyrodrone has it, and
Oh, sick.
maybe get FPV. Let's see. So nope, this is the BLV4. So this is not what you want from Pyrodrone or from Get FPV.
$100.
There it is. Yeah, that's harsh, but
What motors do you use? 1002s or 1202s?
1102s, but they might be too big. I'm really excited to get these 1002s in.
Yeah, because that bind and fly I think was 1202s. So.
What I have learned, friends, we talked about this like once, so let's hit on it again, is that the Newbie Drone 1102 comes in 19,000 kV, which is a little bit too high. It also comes in 10,000, well, it's sold out, but they do make it in 10,000 kV. This is actually a little bit too low. 10,000 kV these 1102s, 10,000 kV with the Gemfan 1208 tri-blades doesn't make enough thrust in turtle mode to flip itself back over. And that just sucks. Like if you crash somewhere unrecoverable, you're not going to get the rig back. So I no longer recommend these Newbie Drone 1102 10,000s. I have a set of RCinpower 1002 14,000s coming from, of all places, Rotor Riot. I was doing a Rotor Riot order. They gave me a free membership for winning the micros thing at Rampage to their quad crew thing. And so I was like, well, since I'm doing an order, I might as well get something else. So I snagged a set of these 14,000 kV 1002 RCinpower GTS V3 motors in this teal and pink. So yeah, maybe this. So this is definitely going to have enough kV. 14,000 kV is definitely enough. And to be honest, 14,000 kV is probably kind of perfect. The other tiny lifter that I've been flying is on Beta FPV 1102 18,000s. The problem with that motor is a lot of them are not balanced. I'm lucky enough to have had 3 sets of those 1102s, and I took all 3 of those sets and I put them on rigs and spun them up and touched the motor shaft with my fingernail, like I've showed you guys a million times, and I managed to find a set of 4 that were fairly well balanced. But yeah, a lot of them are not well balanced, so much so that like they won't work. Like you will not be able to get a PID tune that's aggressive enough to handle a 26 gram camera all the way up on the top of the canopy in the center. So yeah, hopefully these 1002s work out. I'm a little skeptical. I have a funny feeling that that 1002, I hope not, but it might not be enough stator volume to stay cool, right? We're asking a lot of these tiny lifters. 26 grams is a hell of a lot of dead weight to pick up. So, yeah, if these don't work out, I don't know what direction I'm really going to go. But hey, there's a way to get a BLV3. Where was it? Pyrodrone? Yeah, Pyrodrone has them. $100 is that's pretty steep. But I don't know. Welcome to 2023 in FPV, I guess. I think like most AIOs at this point are knocking on the door of $100. So yeah, sucks, but hey, what can we do? Earthwalker, yeah, that's the only AIO that I can suggest. I think that those are the only 2 AIOs that have everything on board, and also, well, and the BLV3 doesn't even have ELRS on board. You're going to have to put an external ELRS receiver on it. Yeah, I don't really know of any other AIOs where what I never want to do is to have to put an external VTX on. That's much more difficult to kind of package than just dropping a little EP2 on there. So yeah, it's we don't have a great selection, unfortunately. But I personally use the BLV3. That's the best that I've found. So that's what I have to suggest. Bob Noxious says, "What's up?" And he says, "Is that Eva?" Indeed, it is. Ricardo says, "If a GoPro 11 is a 10, a RunCam Thumb Pro is a 5, how would you score the footage that comes out of the Walksnail VTX 32 gig? Thanks." Great question. So GoPro is a 10. RunCam Thumb Pro is a 5. That would put Walksnail at like a 3 to 4. 3 to 3.5 to 4. It's pretty goddamn good. The Thumb Pro is okay. The problem with the Thumb Pro, it's the same camera and sensor as the RunCam hybrids. Don't quote me on that. The footage from it looks exactly like the footage that I get out of the hybrids. That's what I'll say. When the exposure is correct, it looks great, but it's very slow to adjust. and it's awful saturated. The Walksnail setup adjusts immediately, which really makes a big difference. The footage doesn't look quite as good, but it's more commonly properly exposed. And the experience that I've had with the RunCam stuff is that it's the exposure is wrong a lot of the time. So yeah, that's wrong. That's a great question. Professor Biohazard says, I did want I'm only here for the Bardwell rant shirt, but now I want a Ciotti rant shirt too. What? I haven't seen that shirt. Where's that shirt at? RT McKinley says you should leverage YouTube utilities much better. Indeed, I should. Indeed, I should. He also says liquid nails for the win. Denzel the Terrible says, just arrived. EVFPV and Maggie at the same time. The stream never fails to put a smile on my face. Exact same time I could use it. Very cool. Love that, my man. Hope you're doing all right. Earthwalker says, sorry, yeah, Cinelifter. Okay, cool. All right, so yeah, everything that I said is good to go for Earthwalker. And I'm also, since you said Cinelifter, I'm assuming that you were running 2S on that X12. Can you let us know how many batteries it took on 2S before that X12 blew up? And did it actually catch on fire, or did it just stop working? White Fox typed at Ciotti. You got to type CiottiFPV. You got to type people's full YouTube name, and you got to put the spaces in or out in the correct spots for it to actually light up an orange. White Fox says, tell Eva I'm harvesting the lagger I've borrowed so I can return it. I don't know what that means, but...
Oh, I think he just texted me about that.
Awesome. Earthwalker said, thanks. Oh, cool. I did hundreds of packs on 2S before the X... You've already answered my question. Before the X12 blew up. You're confirming my suspicion about Cinelifter AIOs, though. I have not done hundreds of batteries on my Cinelifters. CMYK FPV, though, he built, with the BLV3s, he built, I think, 2S toothpicks. And he blew up 3 or 4 BLV3s in maybe less than 100 batteries each. So, yeah, I mean, there's just so much shit crammed on these AIOs that to then ask them to do 2S, like, that's just asking a lot. So I don't think we're going to get reliability out of any of these. I'm actually kind of impressed that you put hundreds of batteries through that X12. That feels to me like that's pretty good, and that might be even better than the BLV3. What is certainly better about the X12 than the BLV3 is that you're going to be able to see where you're going a lot better. The X12 uses a standard OSD chip, whereas the Newbie drone setup uses a proprietary, basically, OSD setup, and it just looks kind of muddy. Like flying on the Newbie drone AIOs is even harder to see where you're going than regular analog stuff. So I would love to be able to use the X12 to get a better analog, to get better video on analog. Unfortunately, the X12 is oversized and it won't fit in the cockroach frame. And the cockroach frame is the only frame that I've been able... It's got a carbon fiber brace, and it's the only frame that I've been able to get the PIDs aggressive enough to handle the weight of the Insta360 Go 2. The RunCam Thumb Pro is significantly lighter, so maybe that's why you've been able to get away with it. I'm curious as to what frame you're running. I'm assuming that you're probably running a Mobula7 V3 frame, because that'll fit a 2S battery in it. I tried that frame with the Insta360 Go 2 setup, and it was just too floppy. There's a live stream called like Floppy Frame Fix, I think, where, yeah, I had to drop the PIDs down so low because of all the vibes coming through that floppy frame into the gyro that the flight experience was terrible. Like, we're asking a lot of the Cinelifters. We're putting a whole bunch of weight up really high off the center of gravity. I mean, it's on the center of gravity from a pitch. Now, from a yaw perspective, it's good, but for pitch and roll, it's bad. And so, yeah, the flight characteristics just kind of weren't nearly good enough. Doug McLeod with a 550 Canadian super chat. He says, thanks for the suggestion to replace Acrobrief frame with the Meteor 65. I can actually crash without breaking it now. Yeah, man, the Meteor 65 frame is absolute magic. Earthwalker says, thanks. No, we got that. Another Trucking FPV channel says, what's the advantage of a BLV4 on 2S if you have to limit it to 50% for 2S as per instructions? I was curious, does it draw less amps, the higher voltages? Nope, there are no advantages to the BLV4. It's interesting that they're telling you that you need to limit it, though. That means that that they did get my message with the problems. Maybe they got back to me. I don't know. I can't. I used to talk to Kelvin on Facebook Messenger, which I do not have anymore. So where's that 50%? Where does it say to limit it to 50%? Doesn't look like it's on the website here. Yeah, no, you don't want to run 2S on the BLV4. It acts really weird, and one of them blew up like within 10 seconds of doing it. So yeah, don't do it.
Is that with bad Blue Jay firmware there?
Possibly. I
That's
don't
not the
know
issue
for
you're
sure.
having on
It's-
the builds, though.
I
It's
mean,
just the desyncing thing, right?
Yeah, it was, but it's such a weird desync that like it could have been related, and it was a really strange issue.
Oh, the like bad gyro thing on those Mamba 20x20s I had from a while ago.
Okay.
That also showed up really weird in how it like behaved. Where it wouldn't really desync, but it would like cause the ESC to overheat and then go into like temperature shutdown. So it just like reboot midair.
Awesome.
Which was scary.
That's always fun.
Yeah.
Oh, Christ.
But that was BLHeli 32.
Okay. Yeah, it's so tempting now to blame everything on Blue Jay. Freelo just says, I can confirm 1002 14000 is excellent with tiny lifters on 2S Biblade. No heat issues from my experience. Freelojo is the reason that I have these 1002s. He mentioned that he put those on his tiny lifter build last week, I think it was, which kind of gave me the idea. It came at a perfect time because that was right around the same time that I finally got the 1102 10,000 kV rig working, and took it to the little RC drift car thing and realized that it doesn't have enough thrust in turtle mode to flip itself back over. So yeah, 10,000, it flies fine. And I really like that I can run it on the 1208 tri-blades, but yeah, I mean, it's a deal breaker to not be able to turtle mode back over. That's just no good. So Denzel Hero says, what would be the perfect freestyle application for those 1002 14,000 kV RCinpower motors? I'll admit I love orange. My color must build something with those orange motors. I don't know if there really is. I think it would be a toothpick because it's got to be 2S. 14,000 kV is way too low for 1S. So now you're into 2S territory, and with tiny whoops, 2S is a real struggle. The X12 frame doesn't really fit. X12 AIO doesn't really fit in any frames other than the Mobula 3 and 4. The BLV3 is hard to get your hands on, and it's stupidly expensive. So yeah, perfect freestyle application for 1002 14,000 kV, I think, would be to get like a 2S to 4S AIO, and then put Walksnail on it for the VTX, and then throw an EP2 up on top, and away you go on some sort of a toothpick frame. I think that would be the best freestyle application. I have a feeling that's not what you're asking. I have a feeling you're asking for tiny whoop, but 2S tiny whoops I really don't like. Like the tiny lifter, you have to do it, but there's a lot of drawbacks to doing that, mainly weight. You overload that tiny whoop platform, and then it just sucks. Freeloader says got mine down to 68 grams with Thumb Pro. That's really light. Is that all up? Another trucking FPV channel says it was on the store. I bought it from's info. Interesting. What store would that be? Because I'm kind of curious to see it. Denzel the Terrible says you should definitely do the occasional guest appearance mini interview on the stream. I would love to hear more about Eva's Cinelifter build and work. Yeah, that was fun last time. Last time you just finished it, I think. Right?
So? I just done like the first couple flights with it or something.
I think you just gotten it tuned. I mean, since then it's just been more tuning, right?
Yeah.
Any like super interesting things during that?
Don't run too much iTerm on a Cinelifter.
I remember you saying that.
Yeah,
what do you have the slider at?
0.7 or something.
Okay. What's it do with too much iTerm?
Going up, it was just kind of wobbly. It was like just like faster than I was expecting for iTerm.
Interesting.
So it kind of like I didn't like immediately recognize it as iTerm, but it was just like little kind of shakes. But just like
I guess it was accumulate. I guess it's so big that it's managing to accumulate.
I don't know.
In each one of those little wobbles.
But
that's pretty cool, huh? I mean, it says it in the tooltips, right? This is one of the reasons I tell you guys to hover over those question mark tooltips
drift
on the left.
Slider.
Yeah,
it's like it's one side it'll drift, the other side it'll wobble. But it's
that's
like,
what it's called.
I've like cranked it up super high before on like on a 5-inch quad. If you have it tuned, like your stick tracking is really really good. You just really won't have iTerm because there's just not enough really deviation from set point for it to
iTerm's usually super forgiving.
But with a lifter, because you just can't really get that same like overlap of the traces, like it's there is a bit more room for it to build up, I think. Because I've like played with it before on 5-inch, just like cranking it to 2.0, and there you do get like some
eventually
bobbliness, but it's like more kind of, at least for the drone I did it on, it was kind of more like gentler wobbles and bigger wobbles. It wasn't like super sharp like it was with the lifter, but yeah, just
so even at 1.0 it was too much. Okay, yeah. Even at 1.0 it was too much.
I think so.
Huh.
Like maybe I was at a 1.2 or something before, and then I just like dropped it by like maybe at like 0.8 or something. I don't know.
And the filter tuning on lifters is such a pain in the ass because they're so big. So not all, but a lot of the vibrations are down low towards 100 hertz, which is where our actual motion is. So
starts at like 67 hertz, which is like for a 5-inch quad would not fly well. Right.
Damn, RPM filter all the way down at 65.
I've been hanging out in Brian White's Discord, Pin Toolbox guys Discord a lot lately, and just like using the search tool and just reading through a ton of stuff.
Sure.
And it's even like with lifters, just because they have so much more mass and like just higher moment of inertia, that having more phase delay by having lower filters doesn't affect them as much as with smaller quads.
Oh, okay.
So like,
okay, right. If they go into prop wash, it's not fast prop wash; it's slow prop wash. So that makes it easier on latency.
It's still like around like 45 hertz or something. Prop wash, like prop wash, is weirdly constant. I think, I don't know. But
I never thought about that. It's pretty cool.
Yeah.
So it's not as important to dump the filters or push the filters rather.
You don't want too much filtering still, but you're like, what is too much filtering is pushed higher than like normally, like you don't want more than like 2 milliseconds on gyro and 1.5 or 2 on D term for like a 5-inch quad, whereas with lifters you can kind of go up closer to like 3 or 4 milliseconds on gyro, and then
twice as much.
So it's just, you're not gonna get it flying as well as a 5-inch, because 5-inch just fly perfect, but
we'll get there eventually.
It's pretty damn good.
Eventually we'll find the perfect.
I gotta actually look at the footage from today because I can't play it back on my laptop without it being plugged in.
Oh.
Or one of those little stutters.
Yeah.
So like I know like because it's stuttering, it looks like shakier than it actually is because it's like jumping, like it's skipping like frames and stuff. So it's jumping in some parts.
Yeah.
But
lifters are a whole world of pain.
Today was a challenge because I was trying to keep up with NASCAR cars.
ASCAR.
Going literally 100 miles an hour.
Right.
So I'm flying a drone that tops out like flying like this.
Yeah.
At like 85.
Now you know.
And I was just like burning through batteries. Like I flew 5,200 milliamp hours out of a 5,200 milliamp hour LiPo. And I came in for a landing. And I'm like just shouting like coming in hot, coming in hot.
Yeah.
Good space. And like I had plenty of. We had like this section. This nice like long stretch of pavement where I was coming in, and I'm like slowly increasing throttle and still descending. I touched down at like almost 100% throttle, and then like I still had some speed, so I skidded like 10 feet, which was terrifying because I have a big giant heavy camera on the front of this thing. So like I was so scared it was gonna like nosedive and scratch up the lens. Thankfully, it somehow stayed level. It's gonna do stuff.
Boy, heavy battery on the bottom, I guess.
Yeah, it's nicely balanced, but it's like the way the like landing feet are. They kind of like just like jut out. It's not like a 5-inch. It's just slides. Whereas it's kind of in the center. There's like 4 landing legs, and the front 2 ones like they're like a bolt goes through them for 1 screw, and then the other 2 there's just like holes that like kind of like cup over like some of the like M3 press or nylock nuts.
Yeah, okay.
So like it's just kind of like it can like spin.
Sure.
But like once it's over the nylocks, it's kind of locked in place.
Yep.
But the like front 2 are like flipped around backwards. I'm like, oh, that was terrifying.
That's creepy.
Yeah, that was my last flight with it. I was like, okay, we're good. We're good here.
Enough for the day. We're wrapped.
But it was super fun.
All right, let me get caught back up on chat real quick. We got that. Another trucking says, no, we got that. Earthwalker says, Mobula7 V4, I just rubber banded the second battery on. Okay. It went up in full flames. My battery and RunCam are the only things that survived. Jesus. Hundreds of batteries on 2S, but probably only 25 to 30 with the RunCam. Interesting. All right. Freeloader says, that's all up weight. Very cool. That's pretty light. Danzilla says, CiottiFPV and Eva know that you have a pro assistant waiting for you for every job shooting in Ontario, Canada. For you, my dairy equals lunch. Hell yeah.
I'll pay you PA rate.
Yeah, there you go.
You deserve it.
I try really
You're
hard.
standing in the sun for 12 hours. You deserve it.
Fucking real. I try really hard, like when I have a gig coming up, to talk about it on here as much as possible. And I'll usually get a couple messages from folks that are like, "Yo, can I come and hang out?" So yeah, that's always like a kind of a cool thing.
Made today so much smoother.
Right.
I've decided I definitely need a PA.
Yeah.
Like with GoPro drones, I can just do it by myself. Even when it's like a fairly fast-paced shoot, because it's like you kind of just fly a couple of packs, and then usually you have a period where you can run batteries over to the charger and stuff.
Yeah.
But this is like not even like I wasn't like crazy busy, but it was just like so much extra stress. And just like with the Cinelifter, there's like a whole process every time you plug it in.
Right.
Like a 5-inch drone, you plug it in, you hit the start button on your GoPro,
and away you go. Yeah.
Good. With the Cinelifter, it's plug in the flight battery, plug in the auxiliary power to the Z-Cam, wait for the Z-Cam to boot up, start recording. I was having card slow issues trying to run 120 frames per second in ProRes, so I dropped that down to 60 and that went away, but I was still like waiting 20 seconds each time at the start of the when I hit started the camera.
Wow,
just
it
to
takes
make
that
sure.
long to boot up.
No, it was just it would get like 10 seconds in and then say card slow. So I was like waiting, and just
okay.
like making sure it was actually going.
Yeah.
I was actually recording, and then
Like a known
Yeah,
Zcam
it's-
thing?
what?
Is that a known Zcam thing?
I think it might be you can't do 4K 120 in ProRes, and it has to be H.265 or something.
Oh god, what a
I
nightmare.
don't know. But,
Medium format camera life.
I forget what it was, but yeah. So that like stressed me out for a bit till I figured it out. But yeah, it's just like instead of just plugging in the drone and hitting the start button, it's like
yeah.
plug in the drone, plug in the camera, wait for the camera to boot up, start the camera,
Try not to
start
die.
the GoPro that's recording gyro data.
Yeah.
Take 15 steps back.
Yeah. Right.
Shout to everyone that you're taking
Right.
off. Make sure it's clear.
Oh,
Arm,
Christ.
put goggles down. So it's just like there's talking about it. There's not actually that many steps, but it's like I'm flying $5,000, so like I'm
Right.
taking extreme care in each one of them.
That's what I paid for my Miata and my Mustang Cobra.
So
Let's build a Walksnail rig. Switch. And feel free to continue talking about lifter stuff
Yeah.
because I'm sure everybody will love it.
there's really not like extra steps. It's just extra stress for each of the
Extra
steps.
chaos.
Um,
All right. So we got some Walksnail stuff. We got some HappyModel stuff. Let's see if it all goes
I just
together.
do.
It might not, but it might. It might. You never know. You never know. So I'm tempted to swap these motors off here for the iGao 802 27,000s, but I'm gonna save these for the Fractal rig, and I'll tell you why. The Fractal rig is gonna use these same ducts, but then it's gonna have that carbon fiber brace underneath, which is gonna block thrust and add weight. These 802 motors are significantly lighter than these 1002 motors, so that's going to help offset the extra weight of the carbon fiber frame. These are 27,000 kV. These are only 23,500 kV. So the extra kV, I'm going to run these on the bi-blades, and that's going to give me the power back that I'm going to lose from the carbon fiber brace. Yes, that rig is just going to be a chase rig, an Drift RC card chase rig. So it might not need the extra power. I think at some point I'm going to move it to the snowblowers when they come back in stock because they're only 25,000 kV. But yeah, I really want that. So also like in looking at the footage now from the Walksnail setup, the 65mm Walksnail setup, I'm also realizing either it's way harder to fly because it's heavier, or it could be the extra latency compared to analog. So I'm going to be really sensitive with these RC drift car chase rigs to try to get them as light as possible because I think the weight does have a lot to do with it. So yeah, it's going to be 802s with the 1.5mm shafts. I could probably get away with not with a regular 1mm shaft because it's not going to get crashed hard, but it does get crashed frequently. So yeah, we'll do the 1.5s. This is the Neutron RC 1S ELRS AIO with no VTX on board. This is sold at Newbie Drone only, I think, and it doesn't come with these leads soldered on. It comes with a full-size UFL for ELRS here. I don't know of any UFL 2.4 gigahertz antennas. And it also comes with a ceramic antenna here. I'm going to remove the ceramic antenna and just solder on a little piece of wire.
Which UFO is that?
The full-size UFL, which is kind of annoying. I assumed that it was going to be IPEX, and I have a whole bunch of antennas that are IPEX from Newbie Drone, but I don't have any 2.4 Oh, that's not true. I do have some, the tracer ones,
Yeah,
but
the
they're
tracer
huge
ones.
and heavy.
Yeah, that's true.
So yeah, I'm gonna use this. This is sold in 10 packs at Newbie Drone. These are tuned to the correct length for 2.4. They call them whisker antennas. I kind of assumed that there was that it was stripped on one side, but it actually does not.
Don't
look
understand
like it.
how antennas work.
So I'm gonna strip it. Oh man, the last time I was trying to figure out the right length for 2.4 gig antennas, I found a couple really good articles that just didn't make any sense to me. But there was definitely good info in them. So to try to strip this, it's going to be a little bit difficult. I'm going to use an X-Acto knife, and I'm just going to try to take the tiniest little bit off of this. So basically what I'm doing is putting it against the blade and then pushing on it with my thumb, and then give it a little rotation here. I don't know what the hell this material is.
You could probably just touch it with a soldering iron.
That this is insulated with. Yeah, I've done that before. Is this PVC? What is this? Let's see. So I did score it a little bit. Let's see if I did it just enough to pull whatever the hell the insulation is off of here. You don't need to pull much. And hey, I figured out a way to see which pad of the 4 pads when you break off the ceramic antenna is the right one. I hope I can show you all that in a second, but let me try to get this stripped here first. Alright, so I just took the flush cutters and just really lightly kind of grabbed it and pulled it away, and it pulled off a nice little bit. So yeah, I think these little Newbie Drone whisker antennas are a really good bet. Oh, that was super simple. Okay, yeah. So the X-Acto knife didn't do shit. I just took my little flush cutters and super gentle, just closed them until I felt it just barely touch, and then kept that same pressure and pulled it off, and that very easily pulled a nice little bit of the insulation off this little whisker antenna. So these are probably really good. I mean, as long as they're tuned to the right length, that is, which, you know, once we start flying around, we'll get a better feel for. But
it's ELRS, it won't matter.
Yeah, it's true. So yeah, thumbs up, I think, for these Newbie Drone whisker antennas. Let me kick the soldering iron on here.
That was the other thing that was stressful about today.
What's that?
There were 4 pterodactyls today.
Oh, wow. That's ridiculous. So, on your ceramic antennas, friends, there is, like you can see the antenna here. And so I think this is the pad. I think this is the active pad. So just, you know, if you haven't been around for this previously, these ceramic antennas, underneath them, have 4 pads. 3 of those pads are ground. 1 of those pads is active. And I'll bet you that the active pad is the one that you can see here. Has this little bit of copper coming up. The other 4 pads don't have this copper coming up. And, like, the copper comes up, and then it goes around. You can see it, and then it goes all the way around, and it comes back. And here's the second time around. I know, right?
Are they circularly polarized?
And then it goes back. It certainly seems like it, right? So yeah, the copper just spirals, and I guess this copper is the active element of the antenna. I can't imagine how it wouldn't be. Like that, I'm just going by, like, it feels like it's right. But yeah, I mean, you can see it jacks right into this pad down here. And if you, like, look on the other side, for example, at the other pads, they do not. They are not hooked up to anything, it doesn't look like, unless there's something going on the inside of the antenna. But yeah, I'm gonna hook up. This is the Neutron RC. I'm gonna hook up to the little whisker antenna to this pad here, and I bet you it's gonna work.
That's the Neutron RC board.
Say again?
That's the Neutron RC board.
It is, yeah. The company that makes expensive ESCs and then 1 AIO. Like, it's so weird.
And they also make fireballs, because they sell the 12S 4-in-1.
Oh, God. Jesus. That is a known bad ESC.
Oh, I don't know. I'm just assuming.
Okay. Yeah.
I don't understand how you can.
Jesus.
Yeah.
All right, so we're gonna remove this ceramic antenna. I mean, I could just grab it and snap it off. Like that's what's happened to a bunch of the HappyModel ones.
That's how you rip pads.
Last time I did this, I had really good luck just putting a little bit of solder flux in here and removing it a little bit more nicely. The only problem is it's impossible to like heat up all 4 pads at once. So I don't know. It gets a little bit hairy, but this is how I would recommend doing it. Take a little bit of flux, and so you're going to try to heat 2 pads up at a time. So put flux on this side here. We have no access on this side. Pretty shitty access on this side. Good access on this side. So we're going to put some flux on this corner here as well. I really wish this wouldn't clog up so often. I'm going to get a non-TBS syringe of flux, and I bet you it'll be completely fine.
I have a non-TBS syringe of flux, and it's super leaky.
Yeah, this one leaks too. Yeah. Nope, this does that too. Yeah, it leaks and it clogs. I'm like, pick,
mine never clogs, but it just like oozes out of it.
Right, right. Yep. I have that problem.
Same with like the flux pens. Like it's like they work great for a long time, and then just one day you just like tap the pad, and there's this huge blob just comes out. It's like no.
So I'm gonna try to angle this. Like I'm gonna be pulling with my fingernail here in this kind of direction, like oh man, this is gonna be a real focusing nightmare. But just embrace the blur, and hopefully we'll be okay. But I mean, there's nothing magical to what I'm doing here. I'm just gonna be pushing this into the bottom corner of the ceramic antenna while I'm pulling on it to try to get it to kind of sit up. So let's get in here. And in the process of doing this, you do kind of melt the ceramic antenna a bunch. I mean, they don't work as well as the individual little tiny pieces of wire. And see, there we go. So it's kind of whatever. But yeah, this is now completely ruined. But that's okay, because I have replaced these a bunch of times now, and every single time I've gotten better, or at least the same range from just a little somewhat tuned piece of antenna.
I've yet to try like actually
you'll be
flying the ceramics.
Oh really? You've got antennas on everything. They're fine. They're like, completely fine.
Like I've flown them on like tiny whips, and I haven't actually like looked at the link performance.
Okay, yeah. All right, so man, all the other pads melted off, but it looks like that one. It almost looks like there are no other pads on it, but I think it might have just melted like absolute hell. But yeah, the one active pad is still there. Hopefully it'll take solder in a second. Otherwise, I just screwed this all up. If I did screw it all up, I will figure out a way to use the UFL.
Gunk on top.
But I had a feeling, it melted bad. I don't understand why the ceramic would melt like that, but I mean, whatever. I guess it doesn't really matter. So let's see if what I believe to be the active pad will take solder. And it will. So we didn't rip that pad off. That's pretty awesome. I'm going to try to just kind of clean these other pads off just a little bit, because it's kind of gunky. Don't really need to do this, but it just looks like absolute hell. Alright, now I'm going to leave them. The pad that I need is there, and it took a little bit of solder, and that's kind of all that matters. Alright, cool. So it's this pad here, the one shiny pad. You guys probably can't see it. I apologize for that, but I'm not going to get a microscope camera. That's just kind of silly. You should be able to figure out what I'm up to here, even in Blurryville. Although now it's looking kind of fine. So
loop in front of the camera?
Yeah, but then I don't have a free hand, and it doesn't actually work as well as you'd think. So here's the little whisker antenna. I've got the exposed bit right there. This takes like no time for it to drop down, look for a tiny puff of smoke, get it in the right spot, and leave it. This antenna is never really going to get pulled, so as long as it's connected and you can give it a light kind of pull like this, in my opinion, you're good to go. Don't go yanking on it like we do with some of our other wires. That's completely fine. Do, though, check with your loop to make sure that you got it onto the pad. And in my case, I did. And it actually doesn't look terrible. Not the best looking joint I've ever done, but it should be completely fine for something that's not going to have any real stress put on it. So now, and the main reason that I did that is to reduce the, I forgot to talk about this, is to reduce the height of this board, because I'm going to be putting this Walksnail board right on top of it. So with the ceramic antenna, I would have had to space this out like crazy, and then these screws wouldn't have been long enough. So this is really important for these Walksnail builds, to get the top of your AIO completely flat. You know, the bottom of your AIO has all these motor plugs, so like unless you put the Walksnail VTX below and then this on top, it's just kind of ugly. And then if you do that with this upside down, how the hell are you going to mount your canopy? It just becomes kind of a nightmare. So yeah, this is the best way that I've kind of found to do it. We need to get this BT 2.0 going, and I always leave that because I like to show you guys a way of doing it really, really short. These battery leads are extremely heavy, all things considered, for a tiny whoop. So you want to get these battery leads as short as you possibly can. On these BT 2.0 connectors, round is ground. So the rounded off side is the ground side. I'm using 2 black wires, which I do not suggest. One of the other things that you're going to want to do on these BT 2.0 connectors is to rotate the little pegs out. You see how the flat spots are at a diagonal? You want to solder the wire to the flat spot. So this one is okay, but this one over here, I want to rotate it so that the flat spot is facing outwards.
I always do my XT60s and 30s with them like both.
So that the cup is outwards?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it's with these BT 2.0s,
like I have them going
like
the same way, so it's like...
Oh, okay, the same way.
With it horizontal, they're like both pointing up.
Oh, sure.
So you don't have to like flip it over to get the other one. Yep.
Yeah, the XTs are separated enough for that. These BT 2.0s though, it's just super close. So this is what you want it to look like here.
I've never soldered one of those.
Oh, it sucks.
I don't ever plan to.
Yeah. Come on, you bastard, focus for me, please. Please, I'm giving you flesh tone things to focus on and lots of contrast. Please work. Oh, you jackass. All right, hold on. There it goes. Can you see it? There you go. See how the flat spots are out now? There was like a split second where you could really see it. There it is. Flat spots are out. So we're going to put one wire on the outside, other wire on the outside, and that's going to give us the biggest separation between the two of them. So I like to do this by sticking it into this electronics putty.
Although need to get a thing of that.
It might actually not work. It's just so nice.
I always just put down a piece of double-sided tape.
Yep, that's what my dad actually always recommends. So basically, we're going to be soldering this on like this. Those leads are going to hook up on the outsides like that at pretty much that angle. That's the angle that we want, because then we're going to put a piece of shrink wrap that's going to pull this wire down. And so this lead is going to look, can you grab me that white whoop over there? It is going to look like this when you're all done. And that way you've got the shortest possible run of wires, and it sits nice and flat, and yeah, you'll have saved about a half a gram, believe it or not, by doing it this way. So round is ground, and we've got positive on the front. So this guy is positive. Positive is the flat side. Okay, so it's going to be flat side like that. So this is the flat side. All right, so we're gonna get these guys stripped a little bit here. And with all Tiny Whoop stuff, like, strip less than you think you need. You really do not need to strip much of the wire length off. You don't want big areas of exposed wire on these things, in my opinion.
Fine gauge wires I never strip.
What do? Just burn shit off?
I just like touch it, like when I tin it, I just like tin like the flat end, and it usually like causes the insulation to curl a little bit.
Yeah. Hey, by the way,
I think the ones that I do with that only are like 28 gauge or something though.
Right.
Battery leads for that.
You actually reminded me of it. So I looked at some of the different BT 2.0 battery leads coming from Beta FPV and some other places, and they are all 24 gauge. In case you were interested rather. B-Rad messaged me something rather. So yeah, 24. That's what this is. This is 24 gauge, which is good because I couldn't get any. I couldn't get 20 or 22 gauge to go through the through holes here. Yeah, sure, I could have just flat soldered them to the bottom, but I really prefer to use the through holes. So let's get these guys tinned up here first, and then we will attempt to get them soldered down to this BT 2.0 lead hopefully without destroying it. Which is a bit of a moving target because the millisecond that you put too much heat into these BT 2.0s, you kind of ruin them.
Do you have a
tinned
one or?
I do. I'm always so lazy.
I always do that.
That is a really good idea.
Just like you can be so much less careful with them.
Yeah, it's true. It is true. I actually have a little like rig to do it. Where the hell is that? So I would have put it with the other battery charging shit, and I just moved that around. Farts. Where did I move that? Battery charging stuff went somewhere else. God, my fucking neck hurts. What's going on in chat? Anything interesting?
Danzella said, "Did you ever finally vanquish that cockroach?"
Oh yeah, he was just dead on the floor.
Oh, okay, good.
The next day he was just dead on the floor.
Good.
I was like, yeah, it serves you right, you dick.
Danzella also said, plug it into another plug so you don't melt the plastic and see the pins.
Yeah, that's exactly what we're trying to do.
We Bleed FPV says, LO, gang, and Ciotti, good evening.
What's up, Zotek? How are you, brother? What the hell did I do with that bag of... It feels like a bag of power leads, really. Hey, there it is. So in here, I should have, huh? Oh man, that was a constant. Yeah, they fall out. That was a constant member of the live streams in Studio One. That's been around for a while. Those are mainly F40 Pro 2 bells, believe it or not, old school. The motor that I really went through a lot of. So when you're soldering XT60s and XT30s and these BT 2.0s, to prevent, so what can happen with this side? What can happen when you're soldering to these leads here is that they are only barely jacked into the plastic here. So if you push too hard, these pins will come out of alignment, and then it's really difficult to plug it in. So the quickest and easiest thing to do is to take the other side, which is usually on batteries. But if you have a bad battery, don't do it with a battery. If you have a bad battery, just cut this guy off because you only need this. You just insert it, and that's going to keep them centered.
And if you're ever cutting leads off of a
And there you
battery, cut them one wire at a time.
Yeah, for sure. For sure.
I have
So
a
now,
pair of wire cutters that have scorch marks on them.
right? 6S? 6S
yeah.
scorch marks or 4S scorch
6S
marks?
scorch marks.
Yeah, nice. Those are proper scorch marks.
It was at like 4 volts per cell too. It was.
Oh my god. Not even angry. Round is
But it was
ground.
like one of the cells was like partially like, ruptured, so.
Okay, so
I
we're
was
actually
tossing in
soldering
a
on
saltwater bath.
Nice. All right, so let's try it like this. So I'm gonna put this lead in like that to kind of hold it up, and then we're gonna come in like this because I want to be at this crazy angle. So this is positive here, round is ground, that is ground. Okay, so we want this guy on this side. I'm gonna attempt to tin the connector just a little bit here. Let me use a little tiny bit of flux paste here. And with this little stuff, you really want to try to get it on the first shot. So follow all your best practices. Use flux. Don't try to half-ass it. It will bite you. All right, so we're going to try to do this quick. Heat transfer, a little bit of solder. Drag it out like that. Good. Other side. Solder. Drag it out. Fine. All right, and now we are going to check to make sure we didn't bridge them. They sit so close together that it's just so incredibly easy to bridge these that like you want to check it after every time you touch them. All right, so again, we've got positive here, positive flat side because round is ground. So we want to come in at like a super steep angle. Man, please just focus a little bit. Just a little bit, you giant piece of crap. Okay, great. This is helpful. All right, C922, manual focus. All right, so this is going to be marginally better. If it's not in focus, it's now Eva FPV's issue. Fair warning. And I'm going to put the nerd goggles on for this because it's just so goddamn small. And the main worry with this is it bridging. So the nerd goggles really do help with that. So, all right, we got a little bit of solder here, ready to go. And I'm going to be doing this on the back side, so the first one you really won't be able to see, but the second one you'll be able to see because it's on the front side. So you're going to really want to make sure that you get this perfectly into position before you bring any heat in. It's kind of extra hard to do and show you, but we're going to make it happen. So we want as steep of an angle as possible to bring it back, but we still want to make sure that we have enough contact. That looks about good.
Do you not put little heat shrink on the individual wires?
Not for this mounting,
Oh.
no. I just do one big piece. All right, so that was no good on that one. Is this going to move? Yeah, so this is going to want to move when I push against it. So let's do this. We're going to put this farther in here to kind of just hold it a little bit tighter. All right. Let's try that. Okay. Attempt number 2. And we're just grabbing this with like the thinnest possible part of the tweezers so that they're not in the way. Get it down like that. Hold it steady. That was pretty good. All right, so now you guys will actually get to see this one on the front side here. And make sure you wait long enough for the solder on the pin to melt and then just keep it nice and steady. And that, I think that's one of the best ones that I've done. Yeah, that is not bad at all. So that what tends to happen is that the wire will want to pull away, and you won't get enough of the actual wire mating to the pin. But yeah, in this case, it's actually, yeah, I think this is the best one I've done yet, which kind of makes sense because I think this is only the 4th one that I've done. So yeah, I'm actually starting to kind of get better at it, which is nice. And now since we had the other side of the plug plugged in, none of this, even if we had to dump a bunch of heat into this, none of this has shifted or moved, so it'll still be easy to plug batteries in. All right, that went pretty well. So now what we're going to do is check it with a 5X loop, make sure that they didn't bridge together. We are good to go. And, all right, so now we're going to take this connector and just fold it flat against the plug here. We want it as flat as possible. And then we're going to put one big piece of shrink wrap around this whole big guy. That does 2 things. It keeps you from accidentally bridging these with a piece of metal, but it also gives you something to kind of hold on to. Like when you're trying to unplug this, sometimes BT 2.0 batteries, especially like if you screw up a Matty flip, you can like plug the battery in really hard. They can be really difficult to get unplugged. So having a little piece of shrimp wrap here on the outside to give you a little bit more to kind of grip onto is really, really nice. That's one of the only problems of doing it like this. You don't have the wire coming off like this that you can kind of use for a little bit more grip. Not that you would want to do that anyway, because that's really bad for the wire to be pulling on it like that. So let's find... this is also a scenario where I make it a point to use the shrink wrap that has the adhesive on the inside, because, yeah, it's kind of easy for that to fall off. Huh?
That stuff is so annoying, though.
Oh, it is. Oh, it is.
I mean, it makes sense to use it for that, but, like, it's so annoying.
Yeah, I try to not use it because it's just such a bitch to get off. But sometimes it's just the right stuff. And this is one of those cases. I think this is the right size. Yeah, so this size is ever so slightly too small, which is fine. We're gonna stretch it out. You don't want to cover the whole plug because you want to give yourself a little spot for your finger to kind of hold on to. So I think that looks about right. And it's always better to cut this a little bit longer, and then you can just kind of trim the excess off. All right. Why are you going into standby so quickly, soldering iron? All right. Little known fact about shrink wrap is that you can actually stretch it out. If it's ever so slightly too small, don't go up to the next size. Just take a pair of smooth pliers like this and just stretch it out a little bit. And then when you apply heat, it'll shrink back to where it would have been anyway. You can actually stretch these out quite a bit. Like, you can almost double the size of these damn things. There is a point, though, that they will let go. So, yeah, be careful. That's what we're kind of working with there. Leave a bunch hanging off, and then we're going to pinch it at the last second, and then we're going to cover up a bunch of the plug, but not the whole plug. I just use fire instead of fancy, what are they called? Heat guns.
You gotta get a heat gun.
If you use the part of the flame that's right by the nozzle, it's really gassy, and for some reason it doesn't get black soot all over the clear shrimp wrap. And then I just, with my fingers, I just kind of burn myself, but it's whatever. Just pinch this out to kind of flatten that out down there. It's not too bad. You'll live. You'll be all right. And then in the process of doing that, you usually get a little bit extra, so you can just kind of come in with your flush cutters and just trim it back a little bit.
I gotta buy you a little mini heat gun for Christmas.
I have one over there. I have one on the other
one
side of
of
the basement. I just refuse to to use them.
Do you have a big one in there or a small one?
It's kind of in the middle.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's not one of those little stick-looking ones, but it's got like a handle on it. But it's not like one of the great big ones either. It'd be perfect for this.
My
I've used it
soldering
once or twice.
station thing has a heat gun.
Nice.
It's like a soldering iron, heat gun, and bench power supply all built in one.
That's pretty cool.
It's nice.
So this is what we end up with. That is the best way of putting a BT 2.0 connector on there that I've been able to find. The wires are as short as possible, and yeah, that's pretty much the main thing. The main thing is getting the wires as short as we can. What's happening, chat? Denzel the Terrible says, we got that. We bleed, got that. Raviogi says, what goggles do you use with Walksnail? Are they the same with HDZero as well? They are not. They are two completely different systems. There's only really, I mean, you can get the Walksnail goggles or you can get the Fat Shark goggles. They're the exact same thing. One of them is white, one of them is gray. Thank you for that. That's what the Walksnail goggles look like. If you just pretend that they're white, that's what the Fat Shark versions of them look like. I would not recommend that you get that module.
The Fat Shark has
the Dominators
version of it, yeah.
I want to say there was
Are
a
they
Rampage
exactly
and
the
sold
same,
them immediately.
or-
Exactly the same. Exactly the same. Cool. So this guy is now somewhat prepped. We still have to solder up the Walksnail VTX, but before we do that, so the reason why I put Walksnail build begins is that I build pretty slow, and I knew we were gonna have, talk a bunch, and I'm glad I did because it's 7 minutes to 8, and we haven't even soldered on the Walksnail setup yet. So I'm just gonna really quickly kind of rough this in, and then we'll figure it out on Friday's stream. Maybe I'll work on it a little bit tomorrow.
Do you have one of the Walksnail whips operational?
There's that little snuffleupagus looking bastard. Yep.
I want to fly it.
Then fly it you shall. So this is the Neutron in here. I believe I need a loop to look at these pads. I believe the pads that I need are in the front of this one, which is opposite to the Beta FPV. Yes. So the pads are up front. We've got R1, T1 right next door to R2, T2. So they are up here on the front of the flight controller, which I think is kind of cool because I think we ended up realizing that the best way to mount the Walksnail is with the pads in the rear here. I am gonna I'm tempted to mount this one. So on the 65mm rig, I mounted this with the heatsink down so that the UFL for the antenna was up and easy to access, unplug and plug, and also this plug here sits upwards. I'm really tempted to mount this the other way around, but man, having this UFL be on the bottom really sucks.
That does.
So I'm not gonna do that. I'm gonna put the heat sink downwards
kind
again.
of
I think.
access it with the way the cross.
I mean, kinda, but like, what a fucking night. No, not even a little bit. Yeah, I mean, I mean, like, I'm not going to be beating up antennas on it, but at the same time, I don't even have an antenna for this. I'm going to have to run a whip antenna for this. So, like, at some point, I'll get a proper antenna for this, and then if I have to pull it apart to hook that up, that's going to be infuriating. So, yeah, I'm going to mount this the same way that I mounted the other one, I think, with the heatsink downwards. And so what I'm going to do with these wires, I believe, is just kind of run them at a 45 degree like this, and then just tuck them under, and then that should pretty much perfectly line them up with the pads here. Yeah, and these are through holes. These are through hole pads, eh? That's interesting. Do I have voltage on? Well, so I also need to think about how to get the power. Yeah, so there's 5 volt up here. So I could run the ground up here, but instead I'm going to run both the 5 volt and the ground back here on the top of the battery pads. In the corner here, we got another couple pads. We've got 5 volt video in and ground. And then this thing has an LED pad. Good for you. Oh, it's got buzzer pads too.
Actually, no, that makes sense.
Ground 5 volt
Racers
T1
like
R1.
LEDs.
Oh yeah, right. You know what? There isn't. Oh, there it is. I was gonna say there's no video out. I'm like, there's video in, but there's no video out. The video out is just a flat pad. All the rest of these are through pads. So yeah, last time we kind of figured out that the best way to mount this. Oh, you know what? It depends on the canopy. That's right. It really depends on the canopy. So this is a different canopy that we're running here. So this will be the last thing that we do is spec out what rotation we're going to run this Walksnail VTX in. I have a feeling we're going to run the same rotation as the other one, which is like this, but let's just see what kind of conflicts we're going to have with this particular canopy. Mounting it like that, like what is the canopy going to push into? This is one of the things that I really don't like about these Walksnail builds is that we're tightening the canopies, we're tightening them down and they're pushing on components. I don't have a solution to that. Like I don't know if there is a better way, but I'm at least going to rotate this canopy around to see if there's one orientation that's going to be better than the others. So far, it really doesn't look like it. It looks like it kind of hits components no matter what way you mount it, but it's worth it to just kind of sit here and inspect this out. Although that actually looks really good. Well, no, that looks good on this side. This side it'll sit totally flat, but then this side it's hitting components. And that's actually really bad because that's going to have this camera be slightly tilted sideways, which is really, really, really shitty. So I'm specifically not going to mount it like that. I'm going to try to mount it in a way where the left and right sides are hitting kind of the same amount of components, I guess we could say, which I believe is mounting it like this, the original way that we looked at. Yeah, I think that's kind of it. And now the front part of the canopy hits this UFL, but that's kind of okay. That's just going to give it a little bit more up tilt. The side of the canopy hits this chip, and there's a little gap here between the side of the canopy mounting and the PDB. And then on the opposite side, there's pretty much the exact same gap. So this is really what I want. Either this or rotating it all the way around backwards. And when I rotate it around backwards, now all of a sudden this one side is not hitting the component. So this one side sits completely flat. And this other side is hitting the component even worse. So yeah, same exact VTX mounting as the 65mm build. I'm tempted to remove this UFL because it'll sit more flat. But God forbid I ever need to use that. Oh, wait, no, this is the UFL on the... Yeah, I can't remove it. Oh, shit. Okay, so this is a... I was thinking it was the UFL on the AIO. Yeah, this won't work. Shit, okay. Yeah, okay. So, all right, change of plans. I cannot mount it like that. I have to... There's only going to be one way that I'm going to be able to mount this, and it's like that. This is the only way that it'll work. Because this is the only way that this UFL is clear enough for me to put an antenna on it. So if I mount it like this, the problem that I'm going to have is the camera is not going to sit flat. Ooh, that sucks. So I'm gonna have to run some sort of a spacer on this side to get this canopy to sit flat. But we're not gonna do that tonight. We're gonna do that on Friday or maybe Sunday, or I might actually even do this on my time. But yeah, just so you see what I'm working with here. Can you kick that back onto autofocus? Yeah. Or actually, it might be fine. This UFL here. Put it all the way close focus. I think that's all the way to the right. Yeah. All right. So see that UFL there? That's going to have an antenna plugged into it, right? So like this canopy, this leg of the canopy is the only leg of the canopy that's not going to foul on that UFL. And I don't even have an antenna plugged into it yet, right? So see that one fouls on it terribly. And then if we keep rotating, that one's really bad there as well. See, it's all over it. See that, right? That won't work. This one won't work either. See, it's hitting it. But this one will absolutely work. And it's probably why they designed the canopy this way. Other option is to go to a different canopy, but then we have to do this whole thing again, and I want to keep the weight down. So I am going to use this canopy. So I'm going to have to mount it like this. And then... Okay, so... Has to mount like this, so those holes are going to be there. This camera... Yeah, this will be fine mounting it like this. This camera is plenty long. The DVR output port is going to be pointing towards motor 2 here. These pads are going to be back towards the rear. Yeah, this will be fine. This will be fine mounting it like this. And then the antenna can just kind of come up and go out. So, yeah, that's how it's going to sit in there. And we will continue this on another live stream, my friends. Oh, is that exposure?
I turned that on too.
Okay, cool. All right, good. I was gonna say maybe that's why it's been looking weird. Eric Mo says you may not like this idea, but Beta FPV has a HD canopy for Walksnail. Yep, I have it, Eric. It's too heavy, so I'm trying to use this canopy instead.
Oh, there's a Patrick.
If this canopy doesn't work out, we will switch over.
What's up, Patrick?
Hey, there he is. Talking about the Walksnail setup. Athix says, I cut the grommets in half to space it. That's a really good idea, Athix. It's a really, really, really good idea. I try to double grommet my Walksnail. Athix also says, I run a whip on my baby tooth and get 1,500 to 2,000 feet on it. Jones says, do you have any tips for safely disconnecting MIPI cables? Not really. Just take your time and breathe.
Just use... preferably blunt tip tweezers and just like gently lift each side. And
there you go.
Go very, very slow.
Yeah, exactly. The main thing is just to breathe, man. Yeah. Just don't rush it. Chase Dirk says what's going on. And cool. We're caught up on chat. All right, friends. Thanks for hanging. It is now 8 o'clock. I'm going to let you go. I'll be back on Friday at 7 p.m. Eastern Time, as always. Head on over to Instagram and click buttons. CiottiFPV.com. And yeah, here comes some Walksnail drift car chasing and things.
Follow at Eva FPV on Instagram.
That's true. Eva FPV on Instagram and YouTube, right?
And YouTube, yeah.
Awesome.
And check out my Etsy store if you want the best GoPro mounts.
Yeah, how many you got up there?
Just for the Cinesport right now. I have to upload a bunch.
Word. More coming soon.
Yeah.
Let's see.
Oh,
God.
I have Apex mounts designed and Demibot mounts almost designed.
Nice.
So they're coming soon, but just have to work on that.
Get it done. Is this terrible? This is terrible. We're going to go Sweet Eska. This might be good. All right, friends. We got to see Friday. Hold on, I'll get you audio. Hold on. Here, now you got audio.